My man, Tim Stratton. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
That's good, man. It's so good to have you out here and just spend some time with you.
Man, well, Atlanta is beautiful and this trail is awesome, and it's just awesome hanging out with you.
Yeah, it's a little chilly this morning.
It's
isn't
cold,
it?
yeah.
In the low 30s, and so hey, how long have we known each other?
I think I first met you in 2012. You were teaching a class at Biola at the time. Yeah. So I definitely knew who you were. I think I started following you around 2010. So
wow.
Yeah, I was, you were kind of a hero of mine before I went to Biola, and it was just an honor to learn from you there. And now we're like best friends. So
Yeah, man. I enjoy our friendship.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's friendships, you can't force them. There's just got to be some common interests and a meshing of the personalities, and it's cool.
Yeah.
I think one thing I like about you is your humility. You're a pretty cool guy. I mean, you look at you, you're pretty intimidating to look at.
Whatever.
Man, you're just buff.
Nah.
I remember seeing you at Biola class.
Yeah.
It's like, you made me feel effeminate.
Oh, whatever.
Man. You just had this real, it's like, man, I wish I looked like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not in the same shape as I was back then. Just
let's put it this way, I was never in the shape that you were in then or now.
I take physical fitness pretty seriously, and it does get harder as you get older, but my goal is just always to do the best with what you've got. And if you're injured, you do the best you can around that injury, and just always try to keep moving forward. So
yeah. So you lift, obviously. I mean, what's your workouts look like? How often do you work out? What do you do?
Well,
not too detailed, but
yeah, I like to work out and get to the gym 4 to 6 times a week if possible.
Wow. And how long are you there each time?
At least an hour, sometimes more.
That's pretty good.
I try to do at least 20 minutes of hard cardio and 40 minutes of lifting, and then when I can, I try to still do martial arts. Don't do it like I used to.
Now tell me about your martial arts. You used to be a state of Nebraska champion or something?
Well, I won the state Cornhusker Games in 1994 and was runner-up in 95.
Wow.
And in karate and sparring. So yeah, that was the glory days, But then I did MMA after that and learned jiu-jitsu, and actually had a little career doing that for a while too. Not a career, but I made some money on the side, I guess I should say.
Wow, you did it for kicks, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Wow, well, that's pretty cool. What got you interested in apologetics?
Well, I was a youth pastor, and I was the kind of youth pastor that was, I wanted to throw the party every week, and maybe throw a few Bible verses at them, and then go play some video games with the kids, and maybe have a little Bible study. Nothing too deep.
Yeah.
But then the students, a couple years into it, these young men that were in my Bible study started asking deep questions, and one young man in particular really was struggling, and I wasn't doing a good job of answering his questions. Well, summer break hit, and I didn't see him for a few weeks. He came back after being in my Bible study for 2 years, and he came to tell me at the beginning of his junior year that he wasn't going to come back to youth group because he just became an atheist over the summer.
Wow.
And I said, but that's not true. You've been in my Bible study. You've seen what Paul told Timothy, that every word of the Bible it's inspired, because he says, why should I believe this Bible? And I said, well, look what Paul tells Timothy here. It's the inspired word of God. And he goes, yeah, but I don't believe that. And I said, but it's the word of God. And he said, well, why should I think that? And I said, it's because Paul says it. And he goes, Tim, this is a 16-year-old kid. And he goes, Tim, that's begging the question. That's a logical fallacy. That's not a good reason for me to believe anything. And I said, what's a logical fallacy? I didn't even know at the time what that was. A 16-year-old kid schooling me and giving me an education. And then he said, I'll tell you what, Tim, if you can answer one of these questions or objections, I'll stick around. And he gave me stuff from Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins and Stephen Hawking and Christopher Hitchens, and fill in the blank with your favorite atheist. And I couldn't answer any of them, and it kind of rocked me. I started even wondering, man, is Christianity really true, or do I just believe it because my parents were Christians, And anyway, I did what any good aspiring theologian would do and went to Google. And I eventually found a guy named William Lane Craig, and I started reading his stuff, and that pointed me to you, and I found out about Mike Licona, and I started studying, just devoting my life to this study, and it's transformed my life. I have indeed been transformed by the renewing of my mind, as Paul says in Romans 12:2. So yeah, that's what got me into it.
Wow. Well, you're becoming somewhat of a rock star in the world of Christian apologetics in recent years. I mean, your profile is growing, and man, you're doing some great stuff. Hey, before we get into that, you've got a hobby now, right? So you've gone from martial arts, you still do martial arts, and you're highly active in working out, but you got a hobby.
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
right.
serious hobby right now.
It's a form of martial arts. That's how I look at it. Yeah. We'll call it gunplay. Instead of kung fu, maybe it's gun fu. You know, as you get older and you can't do everything you used to do, well, it's time to start training with pistols and, you know, and other firearms. I think it's a martial art you can do for your whole life.
So you enjoy that?
Oh, I do. It's my favorite hobby. Love to go down to the range and shoot a bunch of paper and steel targets. There's nothing better than the sound of boom, tink. I love that sound.
Man, that's awesome. Well, you do competition too, right?
Yeah, I sure do. I haven't won any competitions, but I'm getting better, and you know, that's my goal, is to be safe and to know how to operate the weapon. So to be safe and to be accurate, and then after that, try to pick up some speed in the process. So yeah, it's a great hobby. It's, you know, when you're studying for hours a day and doing all this research and writing, sometimes you just have to go shoot some stuff. So
yeah.
It's a way to decompress and unwind.
So speaking of research and writing, you are finishing up your doctoral, or you have finished your doctoral dissertation.
That's right.
And it's in the review process right now. Your dissertation, your research, what is it on?
I'd say the big question that I try to answer is, do we have free will? And by free will, I mean the strong sense of free will, what we call libertarian free will. And there's several different definitions of that, but the one
is that different from Republican or Democrat free will?
Oh, that's a whole other conversation. but yeah, libertarian freedom, it can get into political issues actually, but I'm more concerned about philosophical and theological issues right now. I do like to have the political conversation though, but the form of free will that I typically like to defend, or the definition I like to defend, is the ability to choose between a range of options, each compatible with our nature. And so there's been a debate about this for, you know, probably ever since Augustine, if not before, and really in the last 500 years, behind the doors of the church. The church has been split on this issue. So I think I've answered the question and finished the debate.
Awesome.
In my dissertation. I hope I have. So.
Well, that's wonderful. It'd be great if you have, and we'll certainly be looking forward to that being published. So yeah, so you're in that process now. You've submitted the dissertation. You just have to see if they approve it, maybe do some revisions if they require it, and defend it orally, right?
Right.
You're in a fun position. I remember when I was there back in 2008, and it's just fun. It's like you've done all the heavy lifting by now, and you just have a little bit left. You're doing the cool down period in the workout, you know?
Well, I don't know. I've said the hardest part's over. The scariest part remains.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. And what's interesting about it is the university where I'm at is a Reformed university, which many reformers don't believe that you have free will, and I'm arguing that we do. So yeah, if this passes there, I think that says something.
Yeah. You know, doing a doctorate's scary.
Yeah.
Do you know Rob Bowman?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great guy, just brilliant. And he completed all his coursework at Westminster Theological Seminary years ago, and was writing his dissertation, and toward the end of it, his doctoral supervisor retired. They brought a new guy in.
Wow.
The ink on his PhD diploma was still drying, and he was such a strong presuppositionalist And because he didn't agree with Rob's
No.
conclusion, he wouldn't pass it.
Oh man.
So that time, you know, was there, you know, he still learned a lot, but
yeah.
you know, he never got his
Wow.
degree from there. He ended
Oh.
up doing another dissertation and work later on. So, I mean, that can happen in
Yeah.
Christian university. You're going to a secular university where,
With a reformed theological
department.
department. Yeah.
so, and where I went, University of Pretoria, secular university, and probably a lot of the faculty at that time didn't agree with my conclusion that historical investigation points to the resurrection of Jesus. But, you know, they, to their credit, they approved it because it's a matter of can you defend your
That's
position.
right. That's right.
And, you know, I do that with my students. They don't have to agree with me.
Right.
They just have to be able to defend their position, and that's what's important. And I think that'd be what you find at Northwest.
Yeah.
And so, well, great. Well, that's cool. So, hey, let's, in our next video, I want to ask you about your dissertation, more in your research, and why, you know, those of you who are viewing this video right now, why it's important for you, how it translates into a benefit for your life and applying it. So,
That sounds great.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.